Welcome back. This is Mike with Repliquants. It's May 24th, 2022. Let's do a market update. It's time. We haven't looked at the market for a few days now, and mainly because there was really nothing to talk about. And you see here a slightly hacked version of the Netlines indicator. What I added was a bar on the bottom, like a panel on the bottom, that shows us breaches. Because I have the breaches already here on the actual chart, right? So when, let's say there's a candle here that breaches to a Netline sell level, right? It does paint the candle bluish, see, right there. So I can see on the chart if there's a breach. It's just a visual guide, it's not really necessary. But in order to actually make use of that internally and to use as a signal, I've actually added this. It's just like a 0 if there's nothing going on, or 1 if there's a breach. So you see in red, you see the breaches on the Netline sell level side, and in green you see the breaches on the Netline buy level side, see right here. And you can nicely track along actually. It's a little bit easier, right? Don't you agree? Here was a little bit of a congestion going on, but then, you know, here we're short and then here we're long, which you stay long through all this, you can see, and then we actually go short right here and we stay short all the way down. And this is actually interesting, see? We've got about like 25, 26 candles here where we actually have not seen a single signal. And that's quite unusual. The biggest gap I saw here in between, and that was on the way down as well. And usually, and I can probably scroll around a little bit, you probably hard felt to find another period that is so devoid of signals. There's a little bit here on the way up, see, there, but not as long either, right here. I'm going to scroll back a little bit. That was tail end of last year. Let's scroll back a little bit. I apologize for the crawl here. It's a little bit slow. Here's a little bit here on the end. But again, not as many, right? I mean, similar signals, see that? So that's actually kind of interesting. I'm glad we saw this. So this kind of looks a little bit like what we're kind of experiencing right now. We're more flat. We're not as volatile as this period was. What was that? That was, I think, in May exactly. It was exactly almost a year ago. So this is kind of what I'm looking at, what might occur, although we're a little bit more flat, more downside, potentially a quick step lower, shake out more participants, weak hands, right, paper hands, and then the obligatory scare the children event here, and then maybe that bounces back. So that's a plausible scenario for what we may be looking at this time around as well. Just there seems to be less participation this time. Nothing ever really repeats itself in the markets anyway. It rhymes often. Right? Here's a period that's quite open, and that's fairly rare. See how it's clearly trending, and then at some point you're getting a sell signal here briefly, a little bit late. So if you go out here and then boom, you're actually stuck here short until, that's interesting, this is actually a reversal. Yeah, these are sell signals. So if I would make this a signal, I would basically reverse it here because it actually reverses back. So it'd be either in cash or long again, probably just in cash, just to be safe. There's another sell signal here, same thing happening, and then here you got buy signals, barely visible. So that's exactly why I'm actually doing this, so it's more visible. So here you actually got a breach here, right? So very interesting period. So that's a little bit of an open period, but we rarely see that. Let's go back to today. There. So yeah, anyone's guess how far we go? I mean, let me drag it over a little bit and give you like my 2 cents. So see if I can draw this actually. What do we have these days? What's on the menu here at Ninja Trader? I haven't used these for a long time. Okay, we got all kinds of fancy. I would love to just, here's a path. Okay, let's try the path. So what we got, right? It would not be unusual to see something like this, right? Where it's like maybe this, and then, right, maybe it bounces back, and then kind of drives us crazy for a little bit more, and then works its way down, right? Maybe something like this, and then finally right? I can't, sorry, I need to actually scroll over, but I can't. So I have to, can I do this? No, I can't. So, but you get the idea, and then it works its way up. Right? I kind of ran out of space, but so this is what I'm anticipating. This sideways churn for a while, maybe a few steps or 1 or 2 steps down to shake out the paper hands, and then we bounce back somewhere, probably until here in this range, and then the next fight is on around 40,000, right? So that's basically without the Calmins. Let's drag it down and take a look at the Calmins as well. So here we are, and that's actually a 120-minute chart, and you can see what we've been through in the last few days. Actually, what is that? Almost 2 weeks now, right? We've been just pushing 10 days. Pardon me. Yeah, 10 days about here. We've just been pushing sideways. Something that I found really interesting, see that in terms of price action, and forget about all the net lines here. It's just too messy to even mess with that. You see these slices down, see this? It works its way up. Here we get the inverse reaction. So it's kind of normal tape, right? Same here, works its way back up. And then now we see, well, kind of more velocity down. See? And here, the upside. See how the upside is starting to deplete in realized volatility and historical volatility. It just starts narrowing. But then there's these quicker slides down. And here the same thing. Works its way up. Boom, right? Here's one step up. So that's kind of interesting. And here we can see the same thing as here. Like a really quick slam lower. And actually in the same range here. See that? And again, these are 2-hour charts, so it happens in fairly short periods of time. And that tells me there's a strong sell-up, you know, and this is going to be harder to overcome. The next buy levels here are like around the 30,000 mark, right? 30,000, 130, 30,000, close to 500, right here. So that's where buying could take off, but I'm pretty confident that they're going to keep trying to slap it down here, and we're going to see a little bit more whipsaw, maybe dragging, pushing it down a little bit more until it finds finally a floor. Right now, this is nothing. This is positive, though, so let me show you what I mean. In some respect, right? Not if you're actually holding Bitcoin right now, or anything, actually. So what we're producing here is context, because context is good. Context is our friend. We need the context. Why? Because see, you know, it serves as support later. See that? See that? Right here. That would have not been possible without this. Had we just seen a quick step higher, like boom, down, and then works its way back, it might have reached it. We need more context. We need more excuses for price to really find a reason to hang its head on right here in this area, to basically to build support. And that's what we're doing right now. We're building support for the future here. This is really annoying, super annoying, but it's going to be necessary for later. Here we did build some support. We tried to escape, got slapped down again. See that? Similar kind of type of price action we just saw in the hourly. Got slapped down hard, you know, inverse of this. There was a big sell up here. And yeah, that was actually the 50,000 mark, right? So somebody really didn't, you know, some sellers really didn't want the 50,000 to be overcome. I think they would have led higher. So it got slapped down, and then the walk down here. See when it breaches, when all that support gives way, boom, right? And the next thing comes. And again, one more time. So the support gives, boom. So, you know, I'm a quant trader, obviously, so I do a lot of algorithmic trading as well, but this is the kind of stuff that's just basic, you know, 101 when you read price action, without indicators even, right? I mean, have you noticed that I haven't talked about the indicators at all in this case, right? Just about price action, the way it unfolds. So you can read a lot about the way price unfolds. What is a candle? A candle is just an abstraction, right? What does this candle mean? Well, it opened here, closed here, went all the way down here. What does this candle mean? Well, you know, it opened here, closed here, but between those two events, it actually went all the way up here and also dropped all the way down to here. So that tells us something, right? Because a line chart wouldn't show us that. And we can only just absorb so much data. Otherwise, we would all be looking at really high resolution tick data, right? And that would drive us nuts. So we needed an abstraction. So then, I think it was the Japanese who meant a candle, you know, candlestick charts. and which is very smart. It's a very great way to short price action. It tells you a lot about the market, similar to what my little micro gap indicator tells us. Tells us all a little tiny, meta information about the market. So not to get too academic here with all this stuff, but I'm just trying to kind of convey to you, right, the way price action transpires, how it rolls out, how it unfolds. It tells us a lot about the state of the market. But that's a big part of the game. Just don't underestimate that. Right now, what does this tell us? There's no direction whatsoever. This is a shell shock market, so to say. Battle fatigued as well, probably. It's I think battle fatigue was the 20th century version, and PTSD then is the 21st century word for it. I think there's one more, which I forgot. But you get the idea. It's a shell shock market. I'm old enough for that one. Again, and it's just a market that just like doesn't give a s anymore, and just it's done. I mean, I go slumming over on Reddit once in a while, and there's some glimmers of hope in terms of this, some people there, but in general, the sentiment is extremely bad right now, and that's good. That's good. That's exactly what I want to see, because I tell you right now, based on where we are right now, there's a deep correction. We're not going to see a final low until really a lot of market participants have basically given up on it, and that's when the bus is finally empty. That's when it's going to take off. That's because I can tell you this now, because that's how it happens every time, and it's the same thing that happens in 2008. Last market crash, I was there. I traded through it. I get hit. I made money. I got hit. I learned a lot during that period. And one thing I learned is that nobody ever saw a 667 coming. And nobody knew that the market is going to turn there, right there. And had I told anyone back then that the market is going to be, trading at over 4,000, they would have probably picked me up and put me in a straitjacket. So, what I mean? So it's really hard to predict these things, but they are in some ways can be predicted. There's a time when the door opens, when people get really disgusted with the market. That's usually when market bottoms happen. The more you hear people still talking about hope and that this might be the floor, it's tough. It might happen, but the probability is less. So it's really like counter psychology, and it's a little bit contrarian, right? In a way. So, okay. So much for that. That's basically the daily chart. I've showed you the 120. I could show you Ethereum, but I don't think really it's worth the your time or my time, because it looks almost identical. And I'll leave you with this. I'll just leave you with these thoughts about market behavior and everything. I really like the way the net lines are helping us to stay in the game. I'll keep coding on this, but I'm going to do some back testing as well on this stuff over time. But poco, as I say over here in Spain, and kind of inching my way forward to that. I'm kind of really see how the price action kind of lines up. It looks really, really good on the daily especially, and it looks extremely promising. The net lines themselves alone, actually, as you just saw, right? They look really, really good. And let me pop it up one more time, just so kind of know what I'm talking about. Right there. Again, these are the net lines, right? And here's these additional visual guides in terms of the breaches. And as you can tell, would have just basically kept us short, just the net lines themselves. So I'm basically trying to decide if we're good enough just from net lines, or if we can, if we actually need the Kalmans as well in terms of trend, or we have double, if we need double confirmation when we're taking a long or short position, things like that. So, but yeah, it's coming along very, very nicely, and I'm very happy about it. So that's it. So I'll keep you guys posted if there's something happen. I'm not going to do another post if we, for the next few days, unless we're actually making progress in one direction or the other. But as soon as something happens, I keep you guys posted. Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. And yeah, that's it. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and upload the video if you liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.